Okay, hey everybody. It's gonna be kind of like a messy video and unscripted just because I don't really know what to say. I know what I want to say, but I don't know how to say it. Yes, that's an Oregon shirt. Hi, Ashlyn. And Tracy and the whole family. I'm wearing this just because I went to go visit some good friends a little bit ago, and I don't know anything about the Ducks or anything, but I just thought it was a great shirt. Plus, it's the only state my really good friend John has not been to, so it was a way of kind of like sticking it to him. Anyway, good dude, he gets it. I got him a shirt too. Okay, so the point of this video is I think it's going to be the start of a series um, in self-discovery and in self-improvement. And I know I just used the word self twice, but you'll see that really what's at the center of all this is what I think is my purpose on this earth, which is serving others and making everybody better than I found them and happier. And in the process, me being very happy, right? So it's not just one-sided. So I've got like a really messy little scratch pad that I just started writing on here. And again, this is what I call an ugly baby, right? It's not polished, it's raw. But one of the things I like right off the bat is this isn't something I did already, and now I'm just sort of like reporting on the change, like a weight loss or something like that. And nothing against that at all, and anyone that does that. I just think this is unique in the sense that I'm coming to you guys on day one of this journey. I literally just wrote this and then picked up my phone to record it for you guys. I don't know how it's going to end up. I don't know what I'm going to do well at. I don't know what I'm going to fall on my face at, but I will get back up. And that's kind of all I've got right now as far as like the intro. But let me tell you what I've got so far on this paper. So I don't know if I can switch this. Of course, I can't switch it while I'm recording. Okay, well, I'll just read it to you. So at the center of this paper, I'll try to show you. At the center of this paper is serving others, right? So that's like the main deal. And the letters might be backwards because it's a rear-facing camera, and I'm sorry about that, but it says serve others. And then I have three kind of categories, and they're not clever. Okay, I'm not a clever person, but it just kind of seemed like a framework that made sense. You've got healthy mind, healthy spirit, and healthy body. And they all sort of interconnect, but at the center of them is that service, right? So one of the toughest things for me, if you read the article I posted yesterday, has been rediscovering myself in this new chapter of my life, right? For 20 years and 8 days, I had the Marine Corps, and that was kind of like a no-brainer. I really felt a sense of purpose every single day I went to work, and the Marines I served with, the missions we had, the deployments we did, it sort of was like, it all clicked, and anybody that served knows what I mean right away. And even if you didn't serve, I'm sure you have your own examples of something in your life that just clicked, right? So again, I'm not clever coming up with any of this, but I'm struggling to find that on this side of retiring. So literally in the last few days, I've kind of had like a catharsis in a way, and it's in a way the culmination of several events. I was in a really, really dark place, and many of you already know that. And I'm out of it now, confidently, in no small part due to my family and the really, really close friends I have, and all of my friends, all of you on Facebook and elsewhere, that have noticed and chimed in and cared, to put it simply. I think we all feel good when that happens, right? Okay, so back to these messy notes. Under healthy mind, and again, I apologize for the chaos. These aren't like well structured, but under healthy mind, I've got reading, learning, studying, and debating, right? So I like debating. I like putting that in there because what I mean by that is, and I read this in, I think, the autobiography of Ben Franklin. I want to say that's where I saw this, but don't quote me on that. Either way, that's a life-changing book. Go read it. But either there or somewhere, I read, never enter a conversation or a debate with somebody without first accepting the possibility that you'll come out of that discussion with a different view than you walked into it with. Now that could be slightly different or drastically different. But if you don't first acknowledge that, then you're not really having a conversation. You're having two monologues. You're saying what you want to say, and they're saying what they want to say. And that's That's not a dialogue. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm not the end all be all about relationships and psychology and all that, but I know enough to know that, right? And we probably see that all the time. I see it daily. People that are really just two people that are talking and they're not really engaging. So that's what I mean when I say debate. I don't mean like fighting people or arguing to argue. I mean like debating tough topics, whether it's politics or religion or climate change or insert important subject to me here, or in your case, important subject to you, and just talking it out like with an open heart and an open mind. And under read, I've got nonfiction mostly, and then some fiction. And I say that because I personally love reading nonfiction because it ties into my other thing of learning. But I always like to like learn something about the world, about myself, about other people's experiences. I didn't have to meet Ben Franklin to really get to know him in that autobiography. I didn't have to meet Henry Ford to get to know him in his autobiography. I have never met Abraham Lincoln, but The Wit and Wisdom of Abraham Lincoln was another life-changing book. I had never met Dale Carnegie, but How to Win Friends and Influence People, strange title to the book, right? And even he would acknowledge that because it sounds gimmicky, but I promise you it's the most life-changing book I've ever read. It has nothing to do with tricks or gimmicks, but it's about understanding people and listening to them and talking to them with grace and openness and all that. Start with Why by Simon Sinek, also one of my favorite all-time books, probably the second most important book in my life, which sort of leads to this. That's why I've got Serve with Others in the center, because that's my why. Making things better than I found them. That is my why. It drives everything else I do, from literally the smallest thing to the biggest thing. Okay, so back to reading. So that's why I read mostly nonfiction, but that's a personal choice. I do put some fiction because sometimes I don't want my brain to be on, but I do like to read, right? So I just kind of want to read a story. And that sort of overlaps with another category of building memories with others because, as some of you know from going to the TAPS Gala or watching the video on Facebook, which is still in my feed if you want to go find it, I have an obligation, a very, very wonderful obligation to a young 8-year-old named Brinley to read all the Harry Potter books with her. And by the way, I've never read them, so it's the first time for her and for me, and I love that. So that's a great example of some fiction that I'm going to absolutely enjoy reading, and I already have because we've already started. Okay, the learning is guitar, magic, and language. Go ahead and laugh at me for the magic. That's okay. But guitar, right? So when we were in Phoenix recently, some wonderful people named Danny Wells and Brett Jones, some award-winning, just fantastic human beings, but singer-songwriters from Nashville, Tennessee, and they've got Grammys and all kinds of stuff. I mean, these are big-time guys. Wrote a lot of hits that you know and may not even realize they wrote, but they did. They donated their time to teaching about 30 kids and 30 mentors thereabouts how to play a song on guitar. And this is the first time. Now, I've tried to play guitar before. I really have. I've picked up a guitar. I actually own 2 other guitars, and they're sitting in a warehouse right now. But these 2 guys were the first in my life that made it seem accessible. So for those of you that were there, you know what a treat, an absolute delight that was. For those of you that weren't, I'm sorry, obviously. I hope that you do get to meet them one day. All the same, I'm fired up about learning guitar. So I've had that guitar for exactly a week, and I can already play 3 chords. It's messy, but I can play them, and I've even written a song. Again, I am not a creative person. It's just a simple picking or plucking of strings, but I like it, and I'm trying to come up with words to it. I'll post that on another post because I don't want to bury it in the middle of this video, but I'll open myself up to any and all feedback from you guys on that. But anyway, and I'm also learning a song that already exists, which is my favorite song of all time and all time and any time. In other words, I'll listen to it in any mood at any time of day or night. And that's Nothing Else Matters by Metallica. So absolutely love that song, and I'm learning it. I've got the intro about 80%, 85% down, and that's in 1 week. I'm so stoked. So that's learning guitar. Learning magic, I've got some really killer card tricks. Just ask Gareth. He can speak to that one. The look on his face yesterday when I did my best trick, I've never seen that level of surprise and just awe. He had absolutely no idea how I did the trick. I like to tell people after tricks like that, I don't even know how I did that. It was just, it's magic, But it was cool. And just that kind of happiness I want to give to him and to everyone that I can. So is it corny to do magic tricks? Yep. And I will keep doing them. And then learning a language. I've been learning French on Duolingo. J'apprends le français avec Duolingo. For those of you that speak really good French, I'm sorry, that's probably atrocious the way I said that, but I think you got the words at least. Je m'appelle Kevin, j'habite ici, dans la maison, chez moi. And that's 220 days straight on Duolingo. I started 220 days ago and I haven't missed a day. So I'm keeping that going. So that's under learn. And then shifting over to study. And again, you could waffle about, and I love waffles, chocolate chip waffles specifically. Love you, Morgan. You make the best waffles I've ever had in my life. I like to, you could flip flop these wherever they go and waffle about, but basically study to me means more like really look at it and soak it in. I mean, you could say I'm studying a language or studying guitar, but whatever. So I put study art and study history. So any chance I get to learn something about history, whether it's going to a battlefield site or a museum, same thing with the art, I want to do that. So that's that. Everything I just talked about was healthy mind. And then I got healthy spirit. Now, bear with me here. This one's probably the biggest category. Right in the middle, I've got give way more than I take. I was careful about that wording because I didn't want to say give more than I receive, because as any TAPS mentor would tell you, and as I said in my speech at the gala, we receive far more than we give to those kids. So that's kind of like the biggest scam in a way. Like they think they're getting a lot out of us, and maybe they are, but we're getting tons more from them. And I know thousands of mentors would agree with that. So the reason I worded it give more than I take is because I don't want to ever, I'm going to say it in the affirmative. I want to be conscious of not taking from people or taking as little as I possibly can, as infrequently as I can. And I want to always be focused on giving. So that's at the center. And then right above that, I've got build memories. So everybody that knows me knows that's a huge thing with me. I'm always using that phrase, building memories, because that's what we're doing, and that's what matters, to me. Again, I'm not projecting my views on others, but to me, the central thing that drives everything I do beyond serving others is building memories with those people. So I've got in priority building those memories in person when able, and then when not, video chats, because then at least you can see them and get mannerisms and tone and facial expressions and all those lovely things, right? And then when that's not possible, then calls, because at least you still get the voice. And then when that's not possible, texts, right? So texts are good. They serve a purpose. Sometimes you're just on the move and all that. But if I feel the texts are starting to become a conversation, I at least want to pick up the phone, or at least say in the text, unless it's urgent and neither of us can talk, then we keep it going in text. But otherwise, I've got to transfer it to calls, because one of the things I do remember from my psychology several years ago that I took is that 55% of all communication, let me back up, 7% of all communication are the words we say, 38% are how we say them, and 55% is body language. So when you text, you're missing 93% of communication, which I don't know about you, but to me that explains why you kind of get into sticky or muddy situations with people and then have to backpedal because they misunderstood a text that you sent. And sometimes it's so quick, it's so easy to send off a quick text that even you might send something you didn't mean, and then you've got to backpedal, right? Whereas when you're talking, and certainly when you're in person, I think you can be more authentic and sincere. So that's building memories. I've got volunteer, and that's just always been a big part to me. So I want to volunteer with kids like TAPS and my TAPS kiddos, even when I'm not at TAPS, and other things like that. But I also want to start volunteering with the elderly. I've got a philosophy on that that I'll share with you, which is, with the exception of the unthinkable tragedy of dying before your time, which unfortunately some of us know folks that have done that were very close to us. With that exception, we're all going to get old. I mean, obviously, right? I just sort of stated the obvious, so apologize for being so obvious. But we're all going to get old. And when we do, it's a simple fact of that process that every day we get older is a day more likely that we're losing other people while we're sticking around. And if you do that long enough, you'll be by yourself, right? I'll be by myself. And that's very sad, and I don't want to dwell on that, but I just have to say that so you understand that my thought process is I want to volunteer with them because I want them to not be alone, right? I want them to have somebody that wants to hear their stories, and I do, right? I want to know where they've been and what they've done and what memories they've built, and what they know, so they can teach me. One, so I can learn, but more importantly, so they can feel helpful and useful in teaching that to somebody else, right? To somebody that cares genuinely. So volunteering with kids, volunteering with elderly, and then the third one I just sort of tacked on is volunteering at the Marine Corps Museum. So I went there recently, and I got a little volunteer application form that I thought, I mean, it's a simple form, but it was the act of getting it that now I'm really invested in going through their training. I think it's 6 or 7 or 8 weekends of training or something, to become a docent there. But of course, once I'm there, going back to studying history and learning, I'm going to do everything I can to learn as much as I can about that museum, all like the hidden things. I mean, I already have learned quite a few just by talking to the people that work there. Pro tip, you can use this if you go to a museum. I like to ask the docents or the curators, I like to say, hey, what can you tell me? What's your favorite thing about this museum or this exhibit? What can you tell me that I can't learn by looking at the exhibit or reading the plaques on the wall? And they'll tell you, whether it's an experience they had or something unique that they went and read about. I mean, I talked to this one guy about Iwo Jima, and he wasn't at Iwo Jima, but he knew a guy that was at Iwo Jima that used to volunteer at the museum until recently. So he was regaling me stories of that and walking me through the flag raising and Joe Rosenthal and all that stuff and a lot of stuff behind. And I'd heard that story lots of times, but he was giving me layers of stuff I had never known or heard of. And it was magical. I loved hearing him talk about it, his passion, and just learning stuff like that. The sort of like the best that I could have gotten out of that. And I got it from this guy, and he probably felt great sharing that, So I want to do that. Plus I'm a Marine, so the selfish part of me is like, got to represent Semper Fidelis, everybody. All right, I had to throw that in there. Sorry for all you that are still active duty. Okay, so volunteering. Then I've got enjoying the arts. So that's theater, music. Remember, this is all healthy spirit, right? Theater, music, and museums. Everybody that knows me knows I love Hamilton. Zooming in for effect. Sorry, you probably see my pores and everything. I need a facial or something. I need to clean this off too, because I've been told recently it makes me look like a hobo, and I can't disagree with her. So I'm going to clean that up. Okay, so theater. I love Hamilton. Dustin remembers me surprising him and taking him to Hamilton. Well, he knew it was coming, but taking him to Hamilton in San Diego or in San Antonio in Texas. I surprised a couple other friends with Hamilton. And it's just, I think it's the greatest musical of our generation, maybe a lifetime. Certainly fine debating that with any of you. But nonetheless, any theater is great. I love seeing Nutcracker every year. I love seeing A Christmas Carol when I can catch it. So that's enjoying the arts. Being with animals is also under healthy spirit. So a girl I was seeing until recently has a wonderful dog. And I loved walking that dog and playing with her. And she just lit up when I would come around, and she'd do her like crazy jumps and everything, which I try not to encourage because it's a little bit of an anxious behavior, but and then she calms down and we get the loves and all that stuff. It's wonderful. But any animals, I also spend a lot of time, or try to spend increasingly more time with horses. Horses are my favorite animal. Anyone that's been around horses knows they are magnificent creatures. They are very intuitive. So they get you even when you might not be sure what you're getting about yourself. They get you. They can read you through the bone and then back out the other side of you. And anyone that knows horses and been around them knows that's a fact. And I kind of like that. I like the sober mirror in a way that they are. They let you know. But I also just love how powerful and yet gentle that they are. So between that and their intuition, I love horses. I like to be around them. And I think that's great for the spirit. That's why it's under healthy spirit. Okay. Oh, and then the last one under healthy spirit, or second to last one, is travel. Physically when possible and vicariously when not possible. So vicariously meaning through other people and their trips. I love hearing about you guys when you do travel, and trying to keep up with some of that. But when I travel, I like to, and that's either flying or driving, right? So flying to other parts of the country or other countries for that matter, or j'aime voyager à France. So, working on my French again. But yeah, and then driving too. So everybody knows I got a Tesla, blah, 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 got it. But it's a great car and it's great for traveling because I get free supercharger for life. So other than hotels, which I can sleep in my Tesla and inflate a full-size air mattress, I've done that. But other than staying in hotels, it's basically free. So I'd like to use that. And frankly, I'd like to take people with me, right? I've done that a few times. So any of you that want to go on a road trip for a weekend or a day trip somewhere, let me know. We'll kick around some ideas. And then the last idea under Healthy Spirit, so far anyway, is start an NPO. So a lot of you know, I'll go get it. A lot of you know about this box I have. I apologize for the quick darkness. Stay with me. I'm still here. I'm still here. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Getting the box. Okay, getting the box. So you guys know I've got this box here that says open me anytime. Now this is a TAPS box, or it's a box I made at a TAPS event with one of my kiddos 2, maybe 3 years ago. And it was meant to be like a thought box, I think they called it. So you put stuff inside of it in like little knickknacks and things that remind you of that person and that experience. And anytime you're feeling down or need sort of like a pep up, that's the word, you go to this box. Well, those things are still in there. But I've chosen to use this box because I think it's very fitting as a box for another video I posted months ago that some of you may have seen. Many of you probably didn't because I'm not really good at social media. I'm trying to get better. But you can find it in my feed and I'll start reposting. But all the tips I've ever made working at my bar, the Light Horse, I've put in this box. I have not kept $1. And that's the only money I make at that bar. And it gives me great joy and a great sense of fulfillment to be putting that money in this box. And the purpose of that, to get back to start with why, is I want to donate all of this money and any other money I can raise, I'll get back to that, starting the NPO, right? Bookmark for a second, towards my TAPS kiddos or anybody's TAPS kiddos. So I won't be giving the money directly to TAPS. I want to start an NPO. So I can use this as a baseline or a starting point and hopefully raise other money and then use that money to help other mentors build memories with their kids. I think one of the greatest things I've ever done was join TAPS and be a part of these kiddos and their families. And the greatest part of that is building the memories with them that we've been able to build all over the country, going to all kinds of stuff, right? Whether it's TAPS events or Hamilton or battlefield sites with Eleanor or museums. I mean, just on and on and on and on. I could talk for hours about those memories, and I'm sure they could. But I have a feeling that one of the barriers to that for anybody, including me, is sometimes a lack of creativity. So it's not thinking of what you could do. So you're just sort of like, okay, well, when I see them at TAPS event, I'll do that. And that's wonderful, right? But the other barrier to entry of this effort is probably, and the biggest one is probably the money, right? And for me included, I'm on a fixed income. So maybe if there was a way mentors could, almost like an application, I guess, in a way, but like send in a one-page thing, real simple, talking to me about their relationship with their kiddo, and then also what memory they would like to build with them, whether that's flying to a graduation that they otherwise couldn't make, or taking them to Disney World because they've never been, or, whatever, but I don't know, buying them a video game that they love to play and being able to play it with them, whatever it is. This would help fund that. And I think that would be awesome. So that's my start in NPO. By the way, quick shameless solicitation. If any of you know anything about starting NPOs, I might have just said IPO, sorry. But starting NPOs, let me know. Because right now I'm just talking to Uncle Google. And I'll figure it out. But if you can help me, that's awesome. NPO in Virginia, because I know it's a state level thing. So if you know about starting an NPO in Virginia, let me know, please. Okay, and then the last category, not that they're in any particular order, that's just the order I read them in, is healthy body. So the sort of 4 pillars that I've put, could be right, wrong, or indifferent, is food, rest, exercise, and relaxing. And rest and relaxing maybe kind of are the same, but again, this is just the way I chose to frame it. So food, hold on to your seats there, everybody. I've made a change in my life, and it's not a diet, it's a lifestyle change. And that is going to a plant-based, majority plant-based, I'm saying diet, but I mean like consistently. It's not like a short-term diet, but a plant-based food intake to sound technical, right? I know that sounds crazy because a lot of us love our burgers. I still love burgers. I got it. But that's why I say majority, right? I'm not an absolutist. I will definitely still eat a good burger. I'll definitely, on special occasions, which leads me to what we call RNA meals, rare and appropriate. Got that from my mom, who got that from Penn Jillette, who wrote an incredible book that changed my mom's life in this area on food and diet. But that just means once in a while it's okay to do that, and I will. But the majority will be plant-based, right? So, I mean, I've been making smoothies all week, and this vegetarian sort of scramble that I made the other day, it was absolutely delicious. So it's not even like, oh, I was craving a big, oily Jimmy Dean sausage or something. No, like it was amazing. And then I felt great afterwards. So I'm not an absolutist. I love a good barbecue. I'm still going to enjoy my In-N-Out burger and all that stuff. But the overwhelming majority of my diet is going to be this. And I'm very happy about that. That leads to a healthy body, right? And so then rest, I'm calling that just sound sleep, which I think with all the exercise, well, the next category is exercise. So with all the exercise I'll be doing, I think I'll be getting better sleep. I also sleep pretty good because my conscience is pretty clear, because I think for the most part I do right by all of you guys and everybody that I care about and that cares about me, and by the world. I try to follow the laws. I try to drive safely. I try to be courteous. I try to do all those things that many of us do. So I think that'll help me sleep soundly. Plus, doing all those other activities should fatigue me enough to go to sleep. And then I've got iRest on there, which anyone that's been to TAPS knows about iRest. iRest is amazing. I'm just going to leave that at that. Well, I think a half hour or an hour or 45 minutes, whatever. I just said a lot. Somewhere between a half hour and an hour of iRest is the equivalent of like 4 hours of deep sleep. So get on that if you haven't. Love you, Emily. God, you're amazing. Okay, and then exercise. I've just got sort of the main categories of exercise that I'm interested in. They probably differ from yours, or maybe some of them overlap. But walking, running, gym, climbing, as in indoor rock climbing, hiking, swimming, and yoga. And I've noticed after I wrote all those that that's 7. So maybe instead of trying to like come up with one gym plan that's different for 7 days a week or whatever, maybe I'll try to just do exercise 7 days a week and one of those things each day. So that would mean I'm only going to the gym once a week. So all of you that are gym experts, you probably think that's not the way to go about it. And that's okay. Please educate me. I would like to find a way to make sure that the 1 day of gains in the gym isn't completely wasted if I only go once a week, even if I'm changing muscle groups. So let me know if I need to kind of scale that back and make the gym kind of every day, but just short little spurts so I can still do other workouts. I don't know. Let me know. Seriously, put the comments in or direct message me, whatever. But those are the things I enjoy doing and I want to do them. So I'm going to start up my indoor rock climbing, which I used to do in California. And I was pretty good at being very crappy at it. But it's fun. It's a great workout, a great mental workout, and it's a lot of fun. And they're like puzzles, in a way, because you got to figure out how to do them correctly. The best climbers in the world by far as I could tell, are females, and they're tiny females. Ashima is the best climber in the world, and I think she's a 16-year-old girl, maybe 17 now. Look her up. She's absolutely incredible. And I think she's the best climber in the world, gender irrespective, by far, I think. I could be wrong if some of you know climbing better than I do, but regardless, she is spectacularly good, and she's tiny. So that's inspiration to me. I want to get back to indoor rock climbing. Hiking, swimming, yoga. Any yoga instructors out there? Need some help with that one. Gym, running, and walking. Okay, and then the last category is relaxing. Again, you could say iRest is relaxing, but I just kind of made a category of under relaxing, I want to meditate. And I'm not sure I'll be doing seances and having candles and all that stuff, but just generally taking, 5 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes, whatever it is, and just being calm. Maybe I'll put some of the cool music on and just trying to empty my brain and not think of stuff. Or maybe it's at the end of the day. Again, getting back to yoga and people that meditate, I'm deferring to you. Let me know. This is all a starting point. I started by telling you it's an ugly baby. It needs to get polished up. So help me, please. And then the second one under relax is, I'm calling it attentive sitting. I don't know. Again, I'm not clever. I don't know what else you'd call it. But that's just sitting and doing nothing for 8 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, doing nothing but attending to the noises around me. So ideally, I'd like to do that outside somewhere in a park or by by a water feature because I love water, where I can just hear rolling waves and birds, my breathing, I don't know, whatever. I just think that would be very relaxing. Okay, so that's where I'm at. This has been about 30 minutes. I'm sorry about that, but for those of you that stuck with me the whole way, I love you and I appreciate it. I may have been doing all the talking here, but I promise you this is not about me. This is about, let me back up. It's about me in the sense that I've got to love myself and take care of myself, but it's all geared towards being a better version of me so that I can be help others be better. I love that, and it drives everything I do. So I love all you guys. I appreciate you listening, and help me with the social media thing too. If some of you know how I could be more effective with these videos, they won't all be a half hour. The ones in the future will be just a couple of minutes updates. I'll try to do them every day, updating you. I'll show you my guitar skills or lack thereof. Show you some of my food things that I come up with or whatever, and we'll just go from there. I am totally open to any and all feedback, good, bad, or otherwise, as long as it's constructive. Because you guys are all experts at some area of this that I'm not. That's a fact. It's just sheer law of numbers tells me that. So see you guys later, and have a great rest of your day. Bye.